And pretty much Anaconda is a platform for Python, right? For Anaconda data scientists, IT professionals, executives, finance heavy. It has a lot of different features, right? So you're gonna download this, right? And then once you download it, you're going to open it up, and you're gonna get all these features with it, right? And what we're interested in using is a Spider IDE, right? It's like a regular IDE, but for it's already launched. Hope it doesn't open up again. It's like the Python IDE but on steroids. You have so much things you could do here, and you can still do all what I'm saying right now. You can still do everything on the regular Python, but trust Spider will be much more useful. So once you have that, if you haven't downloaded this, you have to download pandas, right? So PANDS, and then you're going to have to download datetime, right? Datetime. But if you have Spider, you don't need to download any of that. So you're just gonna download pandas, datetime, and the only thing you're gonna download is conda, install pandas data reader, right? So you're gonna search up conda install pandas data reader, and you're gonna look for this line of code, right? You're gonna copy and paste that. Open up your Anaconda terminal, right? So you're gonna type in Anaconda terminal prompt. Anaconda prompt. It's gonna open up, right? And you type that in. Conda install C, whatever said online. You can install that, and it's going to download it for you. So just hit that, press enter, and you're going to see that get installed. I really don't want to do this right now because my screen recording software is pretty shitty, and it's not going to be able to show you what happens, right? So I'm just gonna close out for right now to make life easier for all of us. So now that we have all those things ready to go, and that was pretty much the hardest part, trust. The easiest part is writing the code. So we're going to import datetime as DT. That's pretty much what everyone calls it, right? You could download it as whatever. Import datetime as far. It'll work. Import pandas as PD. I'm not even sure if you need pandas here because pandas, pandas, the other one, pandas. Let me see what we have here. Data reader. Oh crap! Someone's calling me. Sorry, guys. Yeah. We're gonna have to cut that out. All right, pandas data reader. Enter as well. So the cool thing about Spider is it tab completes for you, just as if you were using Sublime or Atom, So we're gonna use these three libraries, and now we're gonna start our code. So what you can see here when we go on Yahoo online, you can see that it's a time series data, right? So when importing stock data, we always need to give it a date, right? And we also need to give it a start date and an end date if it's continuous data. So let's say we want it from December 95, right, to the 95 to present day. Actually, let's make life easier for us. Let's say September 07 to present day. All right, let's do this. So our start date is going to be a datetime object, right? Datetime pretty much make sure that everything that we make is legible as time and a time object, right? So we're gonna have to give the year 2007, the month September. September's 9, right? All right, let's see if it works. And the day, let's give it the 1st. And now let's run this. Let's see if we have an error. Untitled. What should we save this as? Yahoo stock. Yahoo data. Alright, cool. God damn it. Here we go. I don't know. Oh, probably made me save it because the other file wasn't saved. All right, let's see what happens. So it ran, right? So let's go to the console over here and see what happens when you type in start. It's a datetime object. Perfect. So as you can see here that it has the year, month, and day. And it also has minutes and seconds, right? We don't really want that. Wait, hours and minutes. Never mind, guys. We only want the date. And we're gonna access the date by using this built-in function of datetime. And now we're gonna type in start again. And now you can see that we only have the year, month, and day, which is perfect. And now we're gonna get the end date. And for sure, you could do the same thing we did over here, but with the present day. But the thing is that if you want to not be constantly updating this, right, there's a built-in feature on pandas. So it turns out we are gonna use pandas. Pandas to datetime, all right. And this built-in function pretty much converts today's date into a datetime object, right? So it's going to give us the same exact thing almost. Let's put in. See, it's a timestamp object. So it gives us the hours, minutes, and seconds, and the milliseconds. So we don't really want that. So we're going to have to put date again. And that gets rid of everything for us. So let's run that. See, now that the value is here. Oh, so another thing about Spider is that if you don't want to keep on printing it, you could go to your right hand side on the variable explorer and see that what your variables are, right? So we could see here that our values are much prettier than what they were. See, so we could also type it in over here. I mean, we don't have to, just to see. See, it's so much easier. And that's how our variables look like. And now that we have our start time and our end time, we're going to download data from the internet. So we're gonna call this forward Yahoo. Sorry, don't put that plus sign. Forward Yahoo. All right. So now we're gonna use our pandas data reader, right? So we're gonna call it as web dot. Ooh, I forgot the function name. Should be here. Data reader. That's what we're gonna use. Data reader. Yeah. So if you really want to get into finance, I think pandas data reader is a great start because it has a lot more built-in functions specifically made for stock data, right, and bank data. So it's pretty useful. So for Yahoo Stack web data reader, and here we go. See, arguments. I wouldn't be able to do this without the arguments because like I forget these things. So this makes my life easier. This is why I love Spider. So we're gonna want our name of a company, data source, start, end, and we don't need all this. So name, data source, start, and end. All right. So our name, right? We could type in forward like this, but I don't really want to. Like, let's say we just want to update it. Let's just give it a variable. So our company will be F. So if you ever want to change the name of the company, you just change this variable over here. Company. I mean, of course, it's gonna say 40 Yahoo, so you're gonna want to change that as well. But you don't have to. It's still gonna run. You just need to change this variable called company. So company. What else was it? Source, right? So our source will be Yahoo. That's where we're getting it from. There's a lot more other sources like Morningstar, but sometimes it's not supported. So we'll show you what happens when it's not supported. Start.end, and let's run that. And as you can see to your right hand side, we have column names. Hold up, I want to make sure this thing is still recording. I'll be right back, guys. Oh, it's still recording. Yes. All right. All right, it's still recording. Whew. hasn't failed me right now. Sorry guys, it's just that camera's pretty dumb and it just stops recording from once in a while. Alright, so now we have our data frame. Right, if you want to look into our data frame, you could just go over here or print the data frame, or just put forward Yahoo and run it. And as you can see here, you get a lot of data. Right, and if you only want to check if it exists, you could just put forward Yahoo.head to get the first 5 lines. I mean, it doesn't even have to be the first 5 lines. Let's say you want the first 2 lines, you put 2. First 1 line, you put 1. And see, it gives you the first row. So you see that we couldn't really get the first because probably there was just not, that just fell on a weekend or something. And if it wasn't a weekend, then it, you know, the stock data doesn't really count. And now we're going to see the end time. If you want to see the end, you could put forward Yahoo.tail. Sorry guys. Tail. And let's say we want to first see the last 10 values. So, I mean, if you look at my screen over here, it's the 9th of July. So, 2019 7/9, right? Perfect. And it's at $10. That's pretty good for Ford, being at $10 for 2019. They're doing pretty good. It's a pretty good company. Better than HMC right now. Alright. Yeah, I have very little hope for Ford, but we'll see what happens, man. The car industry needs to get itself together because we're changing times. Alright. Now that we have our data set, we could add even more columns to it very, very intuitively. So one very important column that you might want to add is a daily return, right? So daily return is calculated by getting the return from today, you know, subtract that from yesterday and divide all that by yesterday's return. So how are we going to do that? We're going to use the attribute called shift, right? Because if you shift one down, then that gives you yesterday's. Like let me show you something. Forward Yahoo.head. Right. See how the first value is in the fourth, right? Let's say you wanna get yesterday's value. Like let's look at the second line, because the first value will give you not a number. So if you want to shift it down, it'll give you the fourth, right? So the second line should be shifted down. So we're gonna shift that down to get yesterday's value, and we're gonna show you what happens. Shift, and we have to indicate how many shifts we want. If you want one down, we put 1. If you want one up, we put -1. And see, now we have shifted it down, and you can see here that it has been moved down. Yeah, I'm just double checking. Yeah, we're good to go, guys. All right, so now we're gonna use that formula. So the way we create columns in pandas, we put the name of the data frame, and we put brackets that the name, and we enter the name that we want for the column. So let's say we want the name daily return. Let's give it that. Right, that's our name of our column, and we're gonna have to give it a value. Right, let's put parentheses for operation. So we said we want yesterday's, well no, what we want today's subtracted from yesterday's, right? So we're gonna get forward, this one tab complete Yahoo. No, we don't really want that. Adjusted close, copy and paste exactly how it says. And we want to subtract that from yesterday's value, right? So we're going to shift that one down to get a value. dot shift 1. And that should give you the subtraction value. And we still need to divide it yet, but we need to see. Okay, let's do the calculations. Let's say we're looking at this value, right? The 5th of September 2007. That just to close was 542, right? You subtract 558 from 542, you're gonna get this number, right? And then if you subtract 543 from 542, you're gonna get a very small number, so they're very close. So you can see that we're doing it, right? And now all we need to do is divide all of this by the yesterday's number. So make sure you're putting parentheses in the right place, or else the code might not run. So I close my operation over here by parentheses, so it will give you a percentage. So just make sure you're doing the right number, and just do a little bit of arithmetics to see if you're doing the right values. And now it should be working. See? Percentage. Perfect. Wow. Look. This stock just didn't move at all. Alright. We've done it. Now comes for the fun part. So this pretty much gives you your data set, you know. All you needed was like these lines of code to get your primary data set. So what, that's like what, 7 lines? And if you, I don't even count this as a line, so what? 6 lines maybe? Easy. Alright. Now that we have that, we could get into the fun part, which is plotting. So one really cool feature about pandas is that you could plot your columns, you know, your columns together to see the actual value. And it's gonna open it up in your small little console over here, right? So that doesn't really tell us much. So what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna use magic commands. Magic commands makes life easier for Python, and it's only it only works on IPython platforms. So make sure you don't use this in your regular built-in IDE. So you're gonna put matplotlib. You put Qt. And that's gonna make things pop up. Now we're gonna run our code again. And we're gonna see what happens. Well, we'll look at that. A tiny little plot. Psych. It got big now. Now it looks like an actual, you know, stock. And we could even zoom into regions. Like, let's say we want to see what happened between 2008 and 2010. We could zoom into this little region over here. And we can see that the lowest dip between that time frame that we have was in this date between 2008 and November and December 2008. And we can see the actual date right over here. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. And it was on this hour that we got our value. And it dipped all the way down to 80 cents. Doesn't seem right. Whatever. Cancel. Let's zoom out, guys. Damn, that's crazy. It dipped almost below $1. And then went back up to 12, and it's pretty strong right now. So that's it, guys. That's how you get your your plots. And you could plot any of these columns. You can put daily return. Let me get that in over here. Daily return. Oops, what did I do, guys? There we go. And you could plot that. Oh, and you can see the volatility, you know, the percentage changes. And you can see that in the great financial crisis, Ford stock was moving like crazy. Big opportunity to lose and win money. That's it, guys. That's pretty much um how you manage stock data using Python. Very simple commands. One line of code for each, and you could pretty much do all this the hard way by learning how to web scrape. Just manipulate lists and columns like that. But what I love about pandas and Python in general is that it's a very cooperative platform. So you don't need to learn the whole entire background to start working right away. There's wonderful people that are out here creating libraries, so you don't have to waste so much time doing this. And there's so many finance professionals using this and data scientists that it really makes life easier. And pretty much the sky is the limit with Python. And to be honest, guys, I'm just a beginner as well. I got the idea from Centex. That guy's amazing. Harrison, he is a great teacher for Python. So I'll link his channel in the description. And yeah, you can just pretty much do anything with Python, and I'll show you more things and more analysis and more. I'll focus more on the statistical side of finance, and I hope you like this video. See you soon. All right, let's stop recording.